We are live, and this is another Headless Hangout with friends. And there are 6 of us today, and maybe 1 or 2 other people joining us. And we don't really have an agenda, except I just said before we started that we would introduce ourselves and say where we're at with seeing headlessness. And so we'll see what happens. So welcome, and the basic experience is very simple. You can't see your head. It's a non-verbal experience, and I'm noticing it now. I'm room for this hangout, and so are you. So, Karen, would you like to start?
Sure, yes, yes. Well, I think it's about 4 years ago now that I discovered the Headless Way, which was bang, like making everything clear here at the center, as clear as it never gotten before. And then I feel I've really moved to a small evolution here, like first exploring all of this for myself, and then starting to share it with a few friends around me, and then yeah, meeting such wonderful people in headless circles that inspired me even more, and writing about them. And now, Richard, you're coming to Amsterdam, which I'm organizing. So it's gone from exploring it for me as an individual to also exploring it with others, which is wonderful. And then discovering that we're all this one space inside with all our individual views and life, life luggage, which makes it different. It's wonderful. I can't say anything else. It's wonderful friendships on the basis of headlessness. So that's it.
Lovely, thank you. Thank you. And you're in Holland.
I'm in Holland, that's right.
Okay, Matthew, would you like to go next?
Sure. My name is Matthew. I live in Oregon, and headlessness continues to enrich my life. I can just share a quick experience last night that will, I think, exemplify. I went surfing. I was getting ready to go to bed. It was really late. I had to get up at 5:30 in the morning, and it was about midnight. And I was just ready to go to bed, and I realized that one of my chickens had been lost behind this fence. So, to make a long story short, before I knew it, I was behind this fence looking for a chicken, and then I came back in. I was awake, so I put on a Peter Sellers movie, and I was up until 2:30 in the morning, and it was all okay. It was just, but I couldn't have planned that in a million years. It was all this, just what came out of the void. So that's an example of just living life and being there. As the Peter Sellers movie is called Being There, so how ironic.
Yeah.
So just watching life emerge unpredictably out of the open space here, I suppose.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And we like your background, your garage.
Ah, thank you. Yeah, the whole family's sound asleep, so this is where I come.
Thank you. Thank you. And Ilka, would you like to go next?
Hello, my name is Ilka and I live in Germany. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Is sound okay? Okay. And today my whole day has been from the morning, now it is 3 p.m. and from the morning I've always had such a longing feeling, and I'm switching in and off this headless seeing, because the longing feeling is very strong and it is nearly overwhelming, and then I try to I'm going back to where I'm looking from where I'm experiencing that feeling, or where it gets clear that it is this longing feeling. And when I'm in this space, then the longing feeling is there, and it is more like joy, and it is peaceful. And then I'm getting dragged back into it, and then I'm coming back into the headless void, and seeing it. And every time when I'm in this headless space, I'm totally okay with it, and I see that it is a good feeling, and I can be okay with it. And then I get sucked in again. And I was so happy to know that today I'm going to meet my friends at 3 p.m. because I'm happy to see you and to be able to talk to people who are knowing how it is to look out of this space and experience whatever is coming up. Thank you.
Wonderful. Kind of remembering and forgetting and remembering and forgetting. Yes. Yeah. Marvelous. Barbara.
Well, my name is Barbara, and I live in West Virginia in the United States. I encountered headlessness in January of this year, and have been reading and practicing and coming to the Hangouts. Just a couple of weeks ago, I went to Oregon for the first American gathering that Richard and one of our other members, Sequoia, put together. And it was such a wonderful experience to be with a group of people who had this perspective. And there were 29 of us there, many of whom didn't know anything about headlessness when they came. They just signed up because it sounded interesting to them. And by the end of the workshop, we were literally sharing consciousness. We were all, I think, I felt in that place of seeing together and just spontaneously living our lives. And it was a really wonderful experience for me. I realized that I am my own best self when I am aware of that and seeing that and experiencing that with other people. So I was flying. I was really having a good time. So I have recently been most recently focusing on accepting everything that comes to me in every moment, and it's really challenging. But I'm keeping that as my goal, and sometimes it works. And so it's great to have a group of people who can, give me feedback, give me inspiration, share their own experiences. So this has been really a wonderful thing in my life as well. So thank you.
Great, thank you, Barbara, and great to meet you at the gathering, face to no face.
Yes.
And Doug, who was at the gathering too.
Yes, I was Barbara's wingman there. And it really was a wonderful experience. I'm just caught up in all the introductions, actually. Can we just do those all again? Yeah, I live in Colorado in the United States, and one of the unique things about the gathering, I think, were the experiments that you can actually do together. That's something you can't do by yourself, and it's something we can't easily do together on the video hangouts either. So that was a remarkable place, and I've met Matthew and Barbara and Sequoia and Richard, all people that I've only known before, through the internet. I haven't met them in person. So I think that was really wonderful, a thing to do, and then it all kind of vanished. And continued on, but that was neat too. It's good to get back out and good to get it in the Hangouts. It's been really sustaining for me. And one of the things about the Headless Way I'm especially enjoying these days is turning it into a meditation practice, really, where it's something that returning to the pre-verbal, non-verbal state is very refreshing and tends to distill out some of the other stuff going on. So I'm really enjoying just the non-verbal aspects of it, doing the experiments without any verbal, just returning to my body or taking a walk and you know, seeing the world do its magic, you know, without me needing to you know, editorialize or rationalize or otherwise make a story of it.
Marvelous. Thank you, Doug. Thank you. And I'm in London, and I was thinking, I think it was yesterday, it's one of those things that happens to me. We were in a video hangout, and I commented on the fact of how powerful the seeing is and how it affects every area of my life. And I said, for example, when I look at someone, when I look at anyone now on the screen or in life, there's face to no face, and there's nothing in the way. And it's not an idea primarily, it's an experience. And I said it's very, very intimate. And that came out. I wasn't thinking of it before, and it's kind of spoken to me. These things do. You hear what you say, and then you say, oh, that's true. And it's true, isn't it? When you look at anyone else here, there's nothing in the way.
And there's no distance.
No. That's right. That's right. You're right in me here now, and I guess I'm right in you there now. And as Doug was saying, it's a non-verbal experience, and it doesn't have to mean anything. It doesn't have to feel anything any particular way. But I think, as you said, Doug, the non-verbal experience is the way it is. But how relieving that you don't have to think or feel anything.
What got me in? Oh, sorry.
No, go on.
What struck me in all these introductions, that almost every one of us mentioned in one way or another the connections within the Headless experience. That that's the extra dimension of sharing it with others. And that's what lately is so extraordinary for me as well. That, you know, I used to practice all my spiritual things and ways very individually as a development of me. But lately I'm more aware that it's actually a development of a we. And that's getting like not just a concept, but like a reality for me.
Yes.
That I'm moving forward horizontally with a whole bunch of other individuals that have the same insights.
Yes.
And are willing to share from their particular point of view their experiences. And it's bringing me such more awareness than I could ever have done on my own.
Yes, I know it's very well organized, isn't it? The way it's set up, and to be, you know, you see who you are, and you see that you're the only one. But then there emerges this possibility of sharing it with others who are yourself yet not yourself. And here there's 6 of us, and it's a circle and not a hierarchy. We're all equally aware of who we are. You can't be half who you are, or be it a little bit less clearly than someone else. And this is a mysterious and exciting and special thing to have friends that are enjoying this. And there's no doubt that everyone's enjoying this. I mean, it's so simple. You can't see your head.
Yeah.
Many voices in one consciousness. Yes.
And I noticed for me, going back to seeing what comes from the void, when I look at people that way, there's a real shift for me, because there's not a sense of thinking that the person should be this way or this way. And because of that, I've noticed recently more and more and more, I feel these people that even used to annoy me. Like yesterday, one of my employees that swears all the time during meetings, and sometimes it's over the top, and it's like, I just was cracking up, and I felt such, lack of a better word, I think, maybe it's the right word, love, like I just feel these oftentimes really love toward people, and I think it really is just because there's realizing that I am this awareness, so to speak.
Yes, yes.
It's just it's kind of like, if I had to describe it in words, if I'm the space, then whatever comes in the space comes and goes. So I don't have to do anything.
No.
It's like the chicken in the movie last night. I mean, I didn't have to do any of that, and like,
Yes. And when you're with someone else, Matthew, as you're saying, I mean, we're talking now, and when you're aware of being space for the other, you're space for all of them, and for their voice, and also your voice and your reactions.
Yes.
Suddenly you embrace them. It is love. You include them in this unconditionally open space that you are. I mean, it is the way you're built. This is not an achievement. It's not something that you happen to develop. It's just you notice it. And this is shocking, and it's profound, and it's ever new, and you can't really get used to it. You're open for me now, and I'm open for you. It's true, isn't it?
Yes. I think it's always been like we've talked about, but it seems like I lost it, so to speak, or there was a sense of not achieving for me at all, and it's a sense of realizing, right?
Yes.
And then these hangouts, I was just going to add, in the workshop, for me they're monumental, because so many spiritual seekers I've talked with have had that sense of aloneness, where there's a sense of, people are really just interested in things that aren't, like watching perhaps daytime TV or whatever it is. It just seems like there's not a sense of these questions. And so for me, I can only speak for myself, and from what I've heard from people, there can be a sense of feeling almost crazy, like, well, what's wrong with me? Like, well, how come no one is interested in this? And so coming to have a group to hang out with, check in, and realize that I'm not crazy, that it's like, this is just, it's terrific.
Yes, that's right. This is sharing it. You see that it's sane and it's normal, and it's everybody's birthright. You were going to say something, Ilka?
Yes, I loved what Barbara said, that Headlessness seems to bring out the best in her, and it is exactly my experience. And it is also what Matthew says, because I believe the best in me is this love that comes up. And I see that it is not only with other seers that I experience it, or that I am this love and this being built open. And it is so fantastic that being built open is always new. You don't get used to it, like Richard said. It is not something that you learn and then you're in it or something, but it is always the immediate experience in that very moment. And for me, Karin and me, we were so lucky to be in the Salisbury Hangout, which took place this summer. And for me, this gave such a giant shift, because I had been conscious of being headless 1 year ago, and then in Salisbury with all the other 50 people who were there. It was, I think it must have been the same as in your American meeting there. And since then I see that it is even with people who haven't ever heard of this headlessness, because when I got back to my work, it was like I was nearly dealing with them like I had been dealing with the other seers in Salisbury. So that's what Matthew also says with his colleagues, and I think it is so great that all this support of you friends enabled me to have the strength or the courage to even be open in my normal daily life.
Mm.
I'm so grateful for you to be there.
Yes.
Yes, seeing who you are isn't just being open to other people who are enjoying this. It's unconditionally open to everyone. And you're seeing as and for everyone in a way. I think you could put it like that.
And just to add to that, you know, I've done various other retreats. I mentioned this before, and for me, the most wonderful thing about the headlessness was it wasn't a feeling. Normally, I come back on super highs from these, you know, spiritual retreats, and you can't help it because and there was a sense of that with this too, but then there was also a sense of, I felt really no different from when I went in before the workshop, and it wasn't like I had to be afraid of going downhill or losing something, because all I had to do is come back to this, and I don't know, it just continues to blossom. I mean, I definitely hit these pits, and it seems like the world's going to cave in, and I just see that for coming up in the void, and then all of a sudden it's like I find these situations where I'm just laughing my ass off with other people, and just oh my God, it's crazy. So.
Yes, I think the Headless Way doesn't promise anything in specific, really, except nothing and everything. That is guaranteed. But this is it's deceptive, isn't it? That you say, well, come on the workshop, and we'll give you nothing and everything, you know. And I think for me, the recognition that headlessness is not promising a kind of permanent bliss out there in the world, or something like that. This is being realistic. There's nothing permanent in the world except being, you know, nothing and everything. And for me, this, I think it's one of those developmental things within the unchanging nothing, everything. There's this acceptance in my life that life is, it comes and goes, and the successes come and go, and the feelings come and go.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I stop feeling happy and feel sad, more and more I think, what did I expect? This is the way it is. This is okay. I'm not doing anything wrong. Here's where I find my unchanging safety and freedom and security and joy. But there, it comes and goes. And yes. So, like you know, you leave the workshop, you leave the gathering, and you come down from it, like you came down from the hills, you know, you come down from it. And this life moves on, and there's nothing gone wrong. And you realize that. You say, I haven't lost anything basic. I didn't gain anything basic, and I haven't lost anything basic. But I'm enjoying what is basic, my true nature.
Yes.
Well, and in my case, you know, I was spaced to be angry yesterday.
Wow.
And it's an interesting experience. You know, I experience all of the when I'm angry, I'm not articulate. You know? Clarity suffers in the process, but you know, I still know when I'm angry, I'm not any less headless than I am with you with you now. You know, I experience my anger, I experience the other person. You know, I experience myself. getting feedback from myself and others about whether the angry exchange is working or not working, or what's going on with that. I mean, it's part. I'm rarely angry, but this was one of the cases, and some people believe I should be more angry. As a matter of fact.
So, Doug,
they're angry with you for not being angry enough.
Well, my wife says you should be more angry. Get angry, man.
So, Doug, you were angry yesterday, you said?
Yeah, with my daughter.
Oh, you must not be enlightened then. You must not get it.
Well, thank God. That's all I can say.
You need to go back to the workshop.
This is a very good thing to bring up, Doug, because we all get angry, most of us anyway, or sad or frustrated, and does this mean that we're not headless? Not at all. That's one of the things, that you can be headless.
Yeah.
You are headless, whatever you're feeling. And the fact that it is made clear that your reactions happen in the space means that you can be patient and kind to yourself, and patient and kind probably to others. You're more likely to, because you're not giving yourself a hard time for having somehow failed or dropped off the enlightenment vehicle or something. You haven't. Yes, that's very...
Yeah, sure. I totally subscribe that. Even with depression and all of that, I used to have a very strong judgment on myself. When I had these negative moods or things, I thought, oh my God, what have I been doing the past years? Have I learned nothing? And all of that. But the misunderstanding was, of course, that still in my head a little bit, that the person out there would transform into a kind of, always clarity, permanent thing, which is not true. Out there, the life goes on, and sometimes the sky can be very dark and stormy and thundery and black, but it's all out there, and here it doesn't affect anything here. In essence, it's just appearing in here, and that's such a marvelous discovery, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think for me that's probably the biggest thing with headlessness that has really come across in my experience is this that realization what Doug shared. And I've done so many searches, and it's just like every one of them almost seems to be the sense of you're supposed to be in this euphoric state, and especially with all the teachers and the gurus looking like they're all blissed out, and it's just like that was such a trap for me, and this is not that. It's like, man, I was so depressed about 2 weeks ago, and same experience, and it was just like this wave of heaviness coming through. But who's to say heaviness is any better than lightness, right? So that for me is monumental.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it also opens up the range for self-discovery, because this longing feeling, for example, that I have all day long today, and normally I know that during my whole life it was always connected to my own feeling of being a woman and needing someone, a partner or something like that, and I immediately switched into that. And now that I'm headless, I know I'm headless. I have always been headless, but now I know it, and I can I can just explore it from this standpoint, and I see that it is just the feeling of longing, and it has nothing to do with my gender role or with something else. It is just this feeling, and I can and I can how do you call it? It's not discover, it is like making a research on it, and I know that tomorrow or after tomorrow there will be any other kind of feeling or thought or something coming up, and this is my life journey, and now I can travel in my life journey, and the everything that presents itself to me during my life, I can just enjoy it and accept it, and really be open to it, and I have the feeling that I'm really proceeding, something like proceeding, not always treading the same treadmill as before, but I'm able to do something on it because I'm more understanding, and I can try and relate to it, not only being its victim, but relating to it as the void.
Yes, yes.
Well, I got some really valuable feedback right after the gathering when I went back to stay with the friend that I knew in Oregon, and I got back and I was bubbling over with happiness and enthusiasm for my experience, and I said some things to her about that were something like, I really want you to be happy, and later she let me know that that she felt I was not accepting her exactly as she was, and I could be the space to hear that finally, and that was such valuable information for me that certainly what I always want to be completely open and spacious for my friends and the people that I love, and that I can step on their space by doing that sometimes. So I was really very grateful to have that final lesson of the gathering, and
it's amazing what the void gives us, isn't it? It's how intelligent and wise it is. What it provides us with out of nothing.
Yes.
A few days ago, maybe a week ago, I put out a video reflection of Douglas Harding, and it's from a clip from an interview I did with him, 2001, I think it was. He was 92 or something. Anyway, in this clip, he quotes Meister Eckhart, and the medieval German theologian, who says, do God the favor, it's Christian of course, do God the favor of letting God be God in you. And I know that quote, and I've seen, heard Douglas say it many times, but it really struck me. Do God the favor of letting, get out of the way, see you're empty, see you're God, be God. The only way God is going to experience being God is in you, it's not somewhere else. And I've been kind of enjoying this. Today I was waking up and I thought, there's no other better moment than now to let God be God in me, to be God, and to notice that this hangout is appearing out of nothing now, magically, unpredictably, that I'm empty for all of you, that I am, I don't know what's going to happen. And then there's a moment of depression, or something's not going right, or I woke up with a bit of headache, or something like that. And now I think, this is God, being God in me. It does not mean I'm doing anything wrong. It's just don't expect perfection there. What a treasure, what a gift we have here, this opportunity, this direct access to who we really are. We speak about it as if, I'm seeing who I am, but it is shocking, really, shocking, fantastic.
And yet ordinary as well. That's the great thing. It's not a high. It's the most normal and ordinary and natural thing there is. Just to see all the way through to the core, so to speak.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think we were talking in an earlier hangout this week about being one with everything, and how I cannot survive without all of the layers of me going out through my home, my community, the trees, the earth, the universe beyond, and it's that's also that's a really wonderful place to realize that I am that I am all of those things, all of the tiny things down to the atoms and molecules, all the way out to the stars. That cosmic perspective is is really it's expanding.
And this is where the Headless Way, I've got the model here, unites spirituality with science. The Headless Way is not asking you to believe any of that. We test it, and you see that you're made of layers, and it's all one living body. And this is such a brilliant contribution, and it's, what a beautiful mind-body you have, and it's a vision that is just can be verified. It's fantastic.
I was talking to my students yesterday that reminded me of the model just now. I teach with 29 fifth graders, and just talking out of the void, the topic came up about our lungs, and if you ask them where are your lungs, and they'll all point in here, and then I said, well, would it be possible? We have these beautiful trees out my window, and I said, okay, so those trees up there, they give off the oxygen that feeds these lungs. I said, would it be fair to say that without those trees we couldn't have these? And they all agreed. I said, so therefore those trees we could say are our lungs, correct? And they all immediately said, oh yes. And then we went on a step further, and I said, okay, so the clouds that give those trees the water, could we not say indirectly or directly that those clouds are also our lungs, because the clouds give the trees the water to grow? And they immediately got it. And then we went on and another step, and even said, well, the wind that moves the clouds, and the realization that I'm not this separate identity located in the space, but I really am.
Yes.
I am the clouds, I am the rain, I'm the tree, and everything is.
And as you also, you could go in and you say, well, your lungs are made of cells. And then your cells are made of molecules. And there you have this model image of these layers. And then the natural question is, who or what is at the center? Because your human identity is one layer. It's not at center, it's one layer. Actually, Douglas, there's a video clip, I think it's on the website. Back in the late 70s, Douglas Harding did a tour with the EST Foundation, Werner Erhard. And before the tour, he did a workshop with the trainers in San Francisco. And he was developing the model, and he had a picture of the model. And in the model, he says that when he asks adults where they are on this model, where are you? All the adults point to here, see. And when he asked children, all the children pointed to here. The center, And so when you, it's a natural, obvious question. But when you realize you're dependent on these outward layers, and you're made of these inward layers, then who or what is at the center of all these layers? Well, you are. And the only way to find out what you are at the center is to point and look, which is one of the Headless experiment. Point and look, because no one else can tell you, because they're all outside you. When you point and look, you see that the source of this fantastic body, this onion-like structure of appearances, is this the one. Amazing. Yeah. That's a beautiful way that you did it, though, Matthew, with your students. I mean, that's so kind of, step by step, and practical and tangible, really. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it seems so important to the kind of work that you're doing, Matthew, and Karen and Richard, and all of the people who are carrying this this message, this perspective to others in the world that we see, because there seem to be a lot of people that haven't awakened to the fact that the trees and the air and the water are us, and without them, we're not going to do very well as little beings.
Yeah.
And so I know I've had that viewpoint my whole life long before I ever heard about being headless, but I've felt that connection with the rest of the world, and so I don't know. I just think it's wonderful that that more and more people are learning about this. And
the implications of seeing who you are vast, and in every area of life. Like Matthew has highlighted there, you become aware that the environment is your body. And so that makes all the difference. It's not something outside you, separate from you, that you're not dependent on, that you don't need, that you can treat as you like with no consequences. But in 1,000 other ways, seeing who you really are affects the way that you are. It must do. For example, how you relate to others when you realize that they are yourself, that they are the one in disguise, that no one has who they really are better than others, so that's non-hierarchical. It's profoundly respectful, because you see that everybody is the one. You can't get more respectful than that, in a very basic, essential kind of orientation towards others.
And then the identification with, like that image of, I'll call it me on the screen down there. It's like, that appears more than, say, Karen's image, right? So I see that image. I can wake up in the morning and look in the mirror, and there's that similar shape, this shape and this feature. So, I don't know. There's that aspect of it too. So I guess we could, God gave us this both.
That's right, and we respect the way things are given. And when I look in the mirror, I see Richard and not Matthew. And I live with Richard in a way that I don't live with Matthew. I'm not Richard here, but Richard is I've got Richard's body coming out of the void here, and you've got Matthew's, and so on. And so God appears as a person. Another name appears as a species, but this is to be respected and honoured, because it's the way things are given. So one's not kind of denying being identified with being a person, but your place, locating it, and then your self. That you see, if you put your individual self at the centre, you're not letting God be God in you. You're trying to usurp God's throne and put yourself as an individual here. But when you see who you are, you locate your personhood where he or she belongs, and locate God where God belongs, or the Buddha nature, or the void, or whatever you want to call it. And this is it's being kind of sane at last, and yet recognizing that person has a special role in your universe.
Yeah, I like to call it. I like to call it being insane rather than outsane.
Very good.
That's good.
Well, what I like so much about this headless way is the seeing aspect of it. Is when I look now, I literally see that. I see 2 legs and 2 arms and a piece of my what is it called, breast and belly and so coming out of I don't know what, and then it just continues into the computer, the room, through the window, the trees, the sky, And can I divide between that? No, I can't. Oh, well, I can say, well, this is the end of my leg and this is the beginning of the little table, but what's the difference? I can't say. So what's the difference between this leg and the sky? I can't really say. So there's just this massive thing coming out of I don't know what. It's visible any moment, really. So it's a fact. It's an astounding fact, and never lest the mind always thinks, "Oh, I am here. The outside world is there." It's just plainly not true when I really look.
Yes.
And that's the most fantastic reminder I can have. Just look and see how it is, how it's given.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
And that nagging sense of alienation that so many of us feel from time to time is just sharply diminished, right? The center is never alone.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
All the layers out there on your model, are separated, different, and things, and this thing is close to all things.
Yes. Yes.
And what I find so astonishing during my spiritual path, I always thought that the total consciousness would be something different than me, and I would be the me feeling would be different, but it is not, and that's really crazy because I had expected that it would be different, but it is all the me feeling that I know from childhood, and I know that in each of you it is the same me feeling. And this also makes me much more understanding to people because I know whoever I meet, they have exactly the same me feeling as I have. And if I see their actions, then I can understand perhaps where their actions come from because I see the difference between my action and their action. And then I see why are they acting like that and why am I acting like this? And it gives me the possibility of understanding because I can try and find out if I were if I was in a body who was acting like that, then what would make me act like that? It is like I have I have access to everybody.
Yes. Yes. This gives you immediate access to everyone. And enables much more possibility of compassion and understanding as you place yourself in their headless shoes.
Yes.
What's it like hanging out together?
It's so great.
It's wonderful, as always.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a place of comfort for me. For me, it's like a port. I know it's different for everyone, but for me, it's a port. I go in and I anchor the ship, and I chat with my friends, so to speak, and I have have a nice lunch, talk about things, and it's just so beautiful.
Yes.
Just so grateful.
Yes, to have, the internet has come out of the void as well, and the one has produced this possibility of connecting up with others around the planet to check in about what it's like to be the one, in all these different countries, different lives. And this is a new thing as well, and the one has decided this is very supportive and interesting, and yeah.
I love it. The other day I emailed Richard back and I said I was just feeling one of these moments of crazy euphoric feelings, and I just was like so grateful, and I think I said something really kind to Richard and thank you, and he immediately sends something back, and it's just a picture of the hand looking right back at me.
Right. That's the same to you, fella.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
I think a lot of people might have said, here's a coffer if you want to go ahead and put some money in it. You know?
It's not up yours, it's in yours.
Yeah, these gatherings are so restorative for me in the sense that it brings me back to remembering and seeing, and so I am very grateful that I, as the larger expanded being, did create the internet. And made all of this possible, and created all of you to be here.
Yes.
And yes, all for my benefit.
You're a little known secret, the creator of the internet. We're going to out you now.
I thought Al Gore did that. He was a vice president.
Yeah, he and I work together on it.
Yeah.
They're the two.
And the thing is that when you're with friends and sharing the seeing, I mean, who is seeing? And who, am I doing it? Are you doing it? There's no division in the space, in the one consciousness. I mean, you can't explain it or analyze it into final bits, It's a mystery. But what a joy. And it kind of takes the heat off somehow. I mean, not totally non-competitive, and you're already home. It's, yeah.
And it's fun to watch the nonverbal effect. How does the breathing change? How does the body change? How does the sensations in my face change? All of that happens. I call those the side effects. The experiments are all about something else, but there's a side effect that happens, and it's a good side effect. Side effects.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's kind of where all the action is for me, actually, is the side effects.
And it's what?
That's kind of where the action is for me, is the side effects.
Yes. Yes, there's no action here, except being.
Being and creating, all the rest.
And it's such a marvelous position, is it? From exploring the world anew, from knowing where it comes from. It's a completely different position than exploring the world from being in the midst in it and, just tormented and smacked around by it and all of it. So it's a whole new journey of discovery, just to redo it from the right place, so to speak.
Yes.
Yeah. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I have this where I live, when it just 20 meters from my backyard is this water and a bench and these huge skies, and it doesn't seem to be very polluted here, so I have these starry nights, and these are the moments when I walk out there at night that I feel so united with the whole universe.
Yes.
Just being in this massive space and seeing the stars, and sometimes an airplane, and I totally lose sense of that I'm this tiny human being, but I just become this vastness, and seeing that it's not a mood, but that it's actually a reality.
Yes.
That I am it.
Yes, you don't have to hype yourself up, or it's just the way it's given. Everything is in you.
Yeah.
I think we're going to draw to a close. Any final thoughts about headlessness, or about meeting together before we close?
I've got one, and that is, I think a lot of what I hear people saying is talking about this journey from alienation to intimacy. From being a thing to love, and whatever all that entails. I think that's what comes to mind.
Yes, the being the space is discovering, such intimacy, isn't it? There's no dividing line. The space we say the space and what's in it, but those are words that belie the fact that there's no dividing line, that you go right through and behind and into everything. Yeah. Any other thoughts?
I'm so nourished by these hangouts, so thank you.
So am I. Thank you to everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, well, great to hang out with you all, and put you back in the great void. Sorry, Barbara. I mean, actually, it's a good thing.
It is. I've always been here, and I always will be here.
Okay.
So, you can't make me into a thing, Richard.
Right. Well, same to you. And in yours.
In yours.
I better stop now. All right. Lovely to meet you. I'm going to close down the broadcast here. So take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.